funny to see you there. Let me tell you about the time when I went home to Niagara Falls to interview a local street artist.
Just started seeing stuff around, like cocks and swear words and stupid stuff people would swear. People would do that too. You start looking at the cool stuff, you start drawing it, come on, figure it out. Didn't even know what we were doing. We had some gay tag names, and my buddy had Lego, I had Fozzie and Spectre.
What did these mean?
It was just I don't know, a 4-letter word is what it started with. It was something easy to write, something you could, like letters you might have liked more than others. They were flowing together, come together, make a nice piece. Or you could really use your imagination. Some letters might not really look like something, so you can accentuate on that.
Just a question, because a lot of people don't understand, right, that you can just go out and you spend money on this, right? It's not like you get any money back. You put money into this.
Sometimes.
And no?
Well, when we started, we couldn't afford spray cans. Just walk in, Canadian Tire, big old hoodie, stuff a few up your sleeve,
Yeah.
pouch, get some. One time we did that, and we went right around behind Canadian Tire, spray painted on it.
So how did you come up with that spray? And I see that you used that.
I don't know, I was looking through some websites and looking at all the names that were there. I didn't see it. I figured, maybe get my name up there, somebody would be one of the else's stories there. Just the names, mine never really meant anything, just the names. You put a lot of things behind that, so nothing that related to it, so just a word, just a name. Takes
What would you
different things.
consider it an art form?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's an expression of self. It's your own creation. It's something you like to do. It expresses your feelings, emotions, parts of your life.
Especially that you can stay so secretive about it too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
This is the master man effect.
Well, not every artist wants to be recognized for their work,
No.
because just some people aren't like that.
The
You know?
only recognition they want is that people see them.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there, but now that you're here, I might as well introduce you to my hometown. When I went home, I went to Curtis, Ontario, and that's when I got an interview with a local street artist named Ducky Talls, and this is what we talked about.
As I was growing up, my mother, she left when I was about 5 years old, and my father, he used to beat me. And he left in and around when I was 11 years old, couldn't handle me anymore, or I guess I couldn't really handle the stress of having a kid. So I had to move in with my grandmother, and she was a very artsy person. She always had like pictures, like stuff like that. I grew kind of attached to it, and I wanted to try it myself. So I started doing like, pictures on like paper and notebooks and stuff like that. Always drawn like in textbooks at school, things like that. And well, eventually I wanted to expand. I wanted to, try something new, try something bigger, and try something different. So I started stealing spray cans from the workshop at school, and late at night I'd go out and spray paint, my creations on walls of like the school or wherever really. And yeah, that's basically how I got into it. And
has your opinion on graffiti changed between now and when you were little?
No, of course not. I mean, I always liked art and stuff like that. It was always something that interested me. So, my opinion doesn't change one bit at all. I still enjoy, seeing a nice painting or some graffiti, stuff like that,
So, do you see other people's graffiti on the street as art, or do you see it as competition?
I see it as art. Everybody's got, when you come up to a wall, it's like a canvas, and you write a story on it with your paintings, and well, realistically, if I see someone else's art, I'm proud of it. I look at it and I say, that's a good job.
When I went home that glorious week that we had off, Sault Ste. Marie, well, I went there and I took various pictures of different graffiti.
Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. The population there is 75,000. The art community in Sault Ste. Marie is not as great as it could be with the amount of talent we have in the city, and with the amount of people that we have in the city. Downtown Sault Ste. Marie is where you can find most of the graffiti, with it being written on the sides of buildings or under the International Bridge. The Sault also welcomes a different form of street art in the summer. Buskers come into town and entertain on the city streets by juggling, fire breathing, and just by being a clown. There are many different penalties for graffiti, but what you get charged with depends on your age and if this is your first offense or not. The person who is responsible for the graffiti can either be charged or have to do community service throughout the city. All it depends on is the amount of damage that was caused. Sault Ste. Marie is trying to keep their city streets clean. Last week, the Sault College students have started a patrol of downtown. They are looking for graffiti artists and other forms of mischief. The Sault is hoping that the college students are able to stop the graffiti crime that is happening throughout the city.
Strictly mine.
That's odd. A question from Tori Roth. Where does graffiti come from? Well, watch this clip to find out.
The history of graffiti. Graffiti is ever-changing. It has developed into many different forms and uses and continues to develop in today's world. According to scientific sources, graffiti has been around for approximately 15,000 years. The oldest graffiti in the world is located in a museum in Lisieux, France. Graffiti was used as a form of communication and is considered to be the oldest form of journalism. Sketches of animals allowed people to communicate with each other regarding the type of food found in the area during their time. In the age of the Romans, graffiti was starting to become more traditional. Instead of writing on cave walls, people would write on the walls of their homes. Graffiti became sexual when people started to write about their sex lives. People did not have much of themselves during the medieval time period other than their religion. While attending church, it was common for people to scratch on the walls of the pews of the church to leave their mark and give insights on the thoughts of the regular person during that time period. After the fall of the Roman Empire, laziness was a factor in graffiti. People began to draw their sexual innuendos, which can be defined as porn, and people began to scratch out the names of artists and put their own name around the graffiti instead. Egyptians were true artists, which show through the countless number of people who have explored the culture that remains from their civilization. Hieroglyphics are part of what remains. The Egyptians carved onto the walls of the pyramids using tools. As well, some tombs include paintings. These paintings were created with a calcium-based product. Long after the pyramids began to stand alone, explorers would write their names on the walls of the pyramids to show that they have been there.
Well, I think that street art should not be displayed in art galleries.
I disagree. I think street art should be displayed in art galleries.
Well, if you watch this clip, you can decide for yourself.
At galleries such as Cave Gallery, with their new exhibit called Street Art Saved My Life, the exhibit showed a wide range of different street art styles from many undisputedly talented artists like Futura, Gaia, and Swoon. In these galleries, you can find graffiti priced anywhere from the high hundreds to the high thousands. With such a high demand to empty their pockets to have a piece of work from the legendary street artists, but yet the same art that has been done on a wall instead of a canvas, the city would most likely spend the exact same amount of dollars of removing it.
That's what it says.
Okay. Some street artists reject gallery exhibits as a fallacy of real street art and see it as the death of a movement. Take, for example, a Brazilian Pixelkeo crew who broke into Shock Cultural Gallery in 2006 and defaced not only the gallery space but the art being shown as well. These pixadors stated that they were protesting against the marketing and domestication of street art by the galleries and media. This crew is a prime example of graffiti traditionalism. I guess the real point is that there's artists all over this place, and there has to be a way for them to communicate and share their art all over this world.
We looked into a couple magazines to see exactly how they express themselves so worldwide.
What is it about art being in a different location that makes it invalid for being recognized as something beautiful? There are different websites and magazines completely devoted on keeping the word on street art, from their views on it, what qualifies, and raising the volume on the minority voice behind it. One magazine, called Mass Appeal, which started as a Brooklyn-based bi-monthly voice for graffiti artists in 1996, has now expanded to covering different urban topics, but always paying respect to the original idea of the magazine. Another website that is very devoted to the work of sharing an artist's work around the world is fatcat.com. The website is built up of different artists from around the world, some recognized, some not, where you may post visually appealing street art, sponsor an artist, or read interviews and articles about different artists around the world. Artists may also connect through a Canadian magazine called Visual Orgasm. The magazine is completely private and wishes for visitors not to make an illegal connection because all they are trying to do is archive creativity that would otherwise be forgotten. This Christmas, they will also be releasing a book called Visual Orgasm, A History on Canadian Graffiti. Whether it's a magazine, a website, or throwing some paint on a wall, a voice is being heard and it only gets louder as technology advances, allowing people to connect and share all over this beautiful world.
Street art is a movement that covers the world. No matter the language or art form, it's recognized and shared among all sorts of races.
We believe that behind each piece of canvas is a voice, and someone who just wants to be heard.
We found it admirable that with this gig you may not always get paid or recognized, but it takes a serious amount of devotion and passion to apply yourself to this job.
So take a walk,
See what's in your community.
Or even try it yourself.
peace.